guys, in today's review is on an all-new tooled pre-grouping tank engine by Bachmann. And this all-new tooled pre-grouping tank engine is the North Eastern Railway E-Class, later the Lner J71. So these were first announced on July 31st, 2025 and they arrived to the model shops end of May 2026. So I went for number 31-065 Northeastern Class E-Tank, number 495 in the Northeastern Railway lined green and maroon livery. So that makes it Era 2. And like I said, these came to the retailers at the end of May 2026. Mine is a DC ready or analog version, but if you want to chip it, it does take a NEX 18 DCC chip and it does have a coreless motor. So yeah, I do like my pre-grouping locomotives and I'm a big fan of the Lner. So this one was a must. So let's dive into the review and see what it's all about, shall we? So here goes. So with this model you do get a manual, a warranty and a detail bag. So let's start with the detail bag. The detail bag itself is not a resealable one, which I prefer it to be one like that. But you do get quite a bit depending on the model. So you do get oil lamps for front and back, they are painted in red. You also get screw link couplings as well. Again, the next one depends on your preference of model. You do get steam heat pipes, and they will be with certain models obviously. You get cab doors ×2, and all this stuff in here is painted as well. So like I said, you get two booklets. So you get a warranty booklet, which is the first time I've seen one in a long time, and about your care of your model and how to join the Bachmann Collectors Club. Then your second one is basically your manual. So on the cover you get the classic covers, which is the Northeastern Railway E and E1 or Lner J71 72 steam locomotive. It also has some important information at top telling you that it is designed to do second radius and higher, and do not use track cleaners, electric track cleaners with the model. Tells you about the specs, which is always interesting to read. So it's a coreless motor, it's NEX 18 decoder. It tells you what decoder it recommends. All models have a factory speaker in there. It tells you about lighting features, which is a firebox glow or flicker depending on which version you've gone for. And it has all-wheeled pickup. It tells you about running in, accessories. It tells you what glue to use if you want to add your accessories. And it also shows you where to go. The centre 2 pages is the best page really, because this is about your lubrication and care. Tells you where to oil, tells you how to take the body off. Looks pretty easy. Tells you where to oil on the motor, which is the motor bearings. Again, tells you about decoders, firebox glow, flicker, all that sort of stuff. Then on the back of all that, it tells you about spare parts and warranty and about retailers as well. Now let's move on to the front of the locomotive. So this locomotive does have the NEM pockets and couplers fitted from the factory from both ends, which is great. We also have the guard irons, knocks us off the tracks down below. The buffer beam and buffers, they are lined. We also have the correct font and lettering of the number, which is 495. The lining around the edge of the buffers beam is black and white with red buffer beam. We also have a hole there for your hook and chains that are in the detail bag. The buffer shanks themselves are in red, but at the ends they have been lined as well in the black and white. And then we come to the buffers. The buffers themselves are metal and they are sprung, which again, unless using chain links, they're pointless in 00. As we move up just a little bit, we do have the usual 3 lamp irons. Again, they look to be a separately applied part. Behind that, we do have some motion detail just before the door. If you look close enough, you can see 2 half moon things with rivets. We also have lined sanding pots, which is fantastic. It's lined in the northeastern green and maroon. The outside of the cement box door has been picked out in silver. The dart is separately applied and it's in silver as well. I think it's a separately applied piece, or one part is separately applied. The hinges and support have been picked out as well. And then we have a metal handrail and knobs at the top of the cement box door with the separately applied lamp iron and chimney as well. Now we move on to the sides of this locomotive, and there isn't much difference. Around the other side we do have some separately applied piping or equipment on the front splasher cum sanding pot. That isn't round here as far as I'm aware. That's the only difference I can see. Again, that is separately applied equipment around there, and it's black. So round here we do have, I think it's a reverser where the feed is into the boiler. That looks to be separately applied pot, but I think it could be plastic as well. If you look between the boiler and frames, you can see some inside motion, and it has been picked out, which is great. So this is in the northeastern green and maroon livery. So the splasher cum sanding pots at the front have been lined. The tank itself with the lettering on is correct, has been lined as well, and you can see some of the maroon to go with it. We do have some lubrication pots on the side of the tanks as well, and a separately applied handrail too. There's also another separately applied handrail going along the boiler, which is black, not silver this time around. As we move on down, the running board is in maroon and two-toned maroon as well. We also have some steps near the wheels and a step at the cab. The axles for the locomotive have been covered up. This is a Wurzel design, and it is a 060T. The edges of the wheels have been lined too in white, and then the rest are in green. We have a mixture of red rods and some silver parts as well. You can see that the sanding pipes and brake shoes do line up with the wheels, and if you look closely enough you can see the brake rigging under there. I think there may be some other detail under there as well, which I can't see. The step near the cab, the steps themselves are black, but the supports are in the maroon, and we have two steps. We have two handrails going up into the cab. We also have the number of the cab on the side of the bunker, which is 495. Again, that looks to be a legible piece, you can read that. The lining goes all around the cab sides, and then we get inside the cab too, which I'll get into in a minute. So as we now move on to the cab detail and features, like it said in the manual, this does have a firebox glow on analog, which is a great touch because it's quite a small cab. If you had a DCC fitted one, I believe it's a flicker. So with this being such a small cab, most of the stuff in there is painted. We also have dials on the gauges. I think there's acrylic water as well. There's a lot of separate applied parts and painted as well. We have a wood floor. We have a red regulator. I think there's a reversing handle or wheel in there too. Then on the back of the cab, as it was, where the front of the bunker is, there's a few cupboards, and there is a chute and I think a handbrake as well. Like I said, it is such a tight cab, there's not much light getting in there. Now we move on to the back of the locomotive or bunker, depending on your preference. So we do have the pocket and the couplers applied from the factory, like I said at the start. I believe there's some guard lines down there as well. We do have metal sprung buffers, and I think they are turned metal at the front. The buffer beam itself is lined again, like the front, in red. The buffers shanks themselves have been lined too, which is great. As we move on up, we do have a red or maroon outline. There's also some 3 lamp irons there as well. There is the white and black lining, then it's the insert of the northeastern green with a green separately applied lamp iron. Then behind that you have the running number of the loco, which I've said before, which is 495. Then I believe it curves out a little bit, and then you get to the coal load. As you notice, there is no coal rail with this version. And then back of the cab, you can see we have the spectacles that have been lined, which is great. I think they have a gold and white lining. And if you look carefully enough, you can see a silver handrail to one side. And there is no guard, separate like guards for the windows to stop the coal going through. This version doesn't have it. And then we come to the roof. Now we come on to do an aerial view of this locomotive. So let's start in the usual places. So we do have a coal load. The coal inside doesn't look too bad if I'm honest with you. Not sure if it's removable, but it does look the part, and it looks realistic to me. Like I said, the buffer shanks have been lined. You can just see it from this photo. You can also see that the lamp irons are separately applied too, and there is no coal rails for the windows. The roof itself is in black, does have some rain ducts on, and it has a moulded in vent. And I don't think there's any rivets on the roof of this version. So as we move to the front of the cab, as it was, like I said before, we do have the spectacles that have been lined in white, black and white with some gold trim, which looks fantastic. The front of the cab as well is in the livery of the locomotive, which is great. The lining on here is totally crisp. We do have a second applied whistle. I think it's plastic, but the painting job they've done on it is fantastic. That is just level with the cab front. And then in front of that we have the massive safety valve. Again, this doesn't look too bad to me, and then we have a few separately applied parts on that. The tanks themselves, they do have the water filler caps. They also have some handrails, and I think they have some with riveting for support. They're both the same on either side. We have the lining of the boiler, which is white, black and white in the northeastern green. We have a separately applied dome. Again, the gap on this isn't too bad. Then we have a copper band at the front where the chimney is, and then we come to the chimney and the buffers. The chimney is a separately applied piece as well. Overall, it looks a nice looking livery. Now we come on to do an underneath look at the locomotive. So the steps on this locomotive are die-cast by the feel of them. We do have the brake rigging already applied to the loco from the factory. You can see some springs under here as well, which is great. Like I said before, the couplings and the pockets were applied at the factory. I think you have to take them off to take off the shell, which usual Bachmann style. It's all in the manual, and I think it's a few screws to take off the base key plate, and I believe it comes away by itself with the pickups. I also think we have bearings with the axles, which is great. Nice touch. If you look closely enough, you can see it's all-wheel pickup, and it is a copper strip, which should be good and reliable. We also have the brake shoes and sanding pipes lining up with the wheels, and the wheels themselves are metal. And then we have the buffers at either end. So yeah guys, that's it on the tracks. Next up will be the usual points test and second radius that I do with my models. I'm unsure if this one may struggle, it may not. So you know it is a 060 tank engine and its wheelbase is quite small. So here goes, let's find out, shall we? So next up will be the points test from the shed, backwards and forwards. So here it goes. Not bad. We're looking at 21. Yeah, not just it. It does seem a little fast, but that's probably the gearing. Again, 21. Yeah, it looks a little fast, but 21 seems a reasonable speed to me. So next is the crossover from the outer loop to the inner loop. So here goes. No issues there, and backwards. Again, no issues at all. So yeah, in my opinion, it managed it pretty well. 20 does seem a little fast, but that's probably the gearing that Bachmann went for. And this is a analog locomotive. So yeah, overall that was pretty good. Next up will be some slow speed, and I'll find a train to pull. So here goes. Not bad. Just before the 20. If you look, just before 20 there. Not bad at all for a DC model. So guys, that's the end of the running session and the review of this Bachmann North Eastern Railway E-Class, later the Lner J71. So before I give my price and opinion, I'll tell you what it was pulling, which basically was some pre-grouping vans, cover vans, and a era-free Hornby Lner Toad, just because there isn't much, if anything, of the North Eastern Railway out there of rolling stock. Maybe one item, that's about it. And the speed for the whole of the running session was 19 on the Gauge Master Combi. Remember, this is a DCC ready model. So now price. So I got mine from Tops Trains in Stafford, and I paid £150 exactly for mine, which is somewhere in the middle-ish. If you get this from a model shop in general, you're talking about £145, give or take the model shop, and I think give or take delivery as well. If you get it direct from Bachmann, I believe it is £170, give or take. Again, it depends on delivery and specs and that sort of stuff, but that's the general prices there. For a new tooled locomotive with the features it has and how smooth it actually runs, for me, I don't mind the model shop price. I think I paid a little bit too much, but it is what it is. And the Bachmann price is the Bachmann price. Always try the retailers before you try a manufacturer, in my opinion. And you also may find them cheaper in a sale in 6 months, 8 months time, whenever, if you're willing to wait. So, my opinion on the model. This model runs so smooth. It can manage second ranges, it does the points, no issues. The serviceability on it is great. We have copper strips, which are easy to clean. It's a few screws take the base key plate off. Again, it comes with it. Great stuff. And the body shell to get off is easy. You don't have to undo any of the separate applied detail, which is always a good thing in my opinion. And I believe Bachmann have tooled up for different variants of the class, like they did at the J72. Like I said, I'm not too sure about the gearing. The gearing might be a little fast, but Bachmann are the experts, not me. And like I said, I ran it at 19 on my Gauge Master Combi for the whole running session. It simply was a pleasure to run. No issues, no stalling, no nothing. It can pull a lot more than these 7 vans it has, which is always a good thing. And it looks the part. We have quite a lot of North Eastern locos out there now. We just need a few more rolling stock in 00. That's my opinion. So for me, the price I paid is a little high. 150 is a little high, if I'm honest with you. Am I glad I got one? Yes, I do like my pre-grouping Lner locomotives over the others, but this is a fantastic model. Bachmann should be proud. They should be great that they did the model. They could have just stuck with the J72 and had done with it. So for me, it's a thumbs up. I really, really like the model. It runs so well. I hope you find this review useful. Please take care and goodbye.